Lewis, it's good to meet you.
Pleasure.
My first time with you. This is Lewis Clare, everybody, from the Redhouse Farm in Dunham Massey. And everything's organic with you, Lewis, as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today, it's winter warming soups.
Yeah, basically, we've had a soup weekend on the farm this weekend, so we're just trying to encourage people to try and get eating soups, basically. They're really cheap to make, really simple to make, one pot cooking. Can't get easier than that.
And that's the best thing to do. You know, at the moment when it's dark, cold, wet, horrible, isn't it? It's nice to just get home, throw everything into one pot, and that's it. Job's done. Walk away.
Exactly.
Sit down, feet up.
That's what we're trying to show today. So we're making two soups today. We've got a carrot and coriander, and we're going to make a roasted tomato and basil.
I'll tell you what, if you could smell already what is already cooking in this kitchen, you would just be in absolute seventh heaven. Right, let's start carrot and coriander.
We're going to start off with the carrot and coriander. Now here I've got my coriander seeds. These are whole coriander seeds.
Okay.
And we're just going to give those just a little bit of a toast.
Right.
In just a dry pan. Okay. And what we're trying to do there is just get the aromatics going, the flavours going. And we're going to pop them into our pestle and mortar. Right. And give them a little bit of a crush.
Okay. So we're toasting them just literally in a dry pan at the moment, so you're just literally rolling them around. It's quite a deep pan, so we can't see in it really.
Yeah, we can have a look if you'd like to have a look.
Have a little look then.
So we've got about a sort of heaped teaspoon, verging on a tablespoon. Depends how much you like, how sort of fragrant and spicy you like it. What
kind of flavour? Coriander? What would you
describe
it as?
It's obviously it's an eastern herb, predominantly used in curries and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Really, really fragrant. I'm good. When I crush it for you in just a moment, you'll get a hit from it. Absolutely beautiful.
Fantastic.
If you want to get your kitchen smelling really, really good, get some just coriander seeds, just toast them off.
And listen, don't feel that you have to follow the recipe because we're going to have it available on the screen for you to see as well. If you want to phone in as well, you've got the number there at the bottom of the screen, 0161, there it is, 0161 834 5727. You've got any ideas for soups as well? Maybe you've got your own twist on carrot and coriander maybe. Call in and let us know. I have to say, wow.
Get a bit of a smell from that.
I can smell it from over there. Wow.
That's a real hit of fragrance there. So just into that pan, knob of butter.
Yeah.
And we're just going to start frying our ingredients. So we just want to saute them gently. We've got about half an onion here. It's nice and finely diced. Just going to add that into our pan.
Here's one he chopped earlier.
Yeah, we always like to be prepared on the show. You don't want to see me faffing around chopping onions.
And down where you are, at Redhouse Farm, all organic. So as far as you can, it's your own ingredients that are going into your own bits and pieces. And it's always quite a sense of achievement, isn't it, if you can actually grow your own as well?
Well, I don't know. One of the reasons I used to work in office, I used to be an accountant, you see. And one of the reasons I went back into farming and chefing in general is that it's one of the few things where you still see an end product to what you're doing. You know, you're taking something and you're making it, and you're producing something else. And there's a real sort of primal sense of reward, I think, in that. It's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've chopped these onions quite finely, so we're all ready.
Today, I suppose.
We're just taking off our raw edge, so they're just starting to soften up now.
Is this when they start to kind of go almost
slightly translucent?
Yeah, so you can almost see through. That's the word I was looking for.
So in we go with about a kilo, I think, or is it half a kilo? Half a kilo we've got here.
Half a kilo
of carrots.
So that would be sort of 2 or 3 big carrots, maybe.
Probably,
maybe a bit more?
about 4 or 5.
As many as you want, really, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can do this on bigger scales. It depends how many you're feeding. I've chopped these quite thinly because obviously we're on a bit of a time limit today, so we want to try and get them cooked. And we're just going to add our crushed coriander into there.
Lewis, is it true that if you eat too many carrots that you do actually go orange? I've not tried to test the theory, but
I think it's one of those things that's technically true, but the amount you'd eat would be so much.
Could you try and eat a kilo for us, and then the next time you come back, we'll see if there's any change?
Well, you know, I might have just gone on a sunbed and just confused you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just going to leave that to cook just for a minute or two. What you can actually do with these is, if you want, you can just cook them. Carrots like this and serve them. You don't need to boil them. It's actually a really healthy way of cooking vegetables. Rather than boiling, when we boil, we lose a lot of the nutrition. Comes out into the water. Exactly. So we'll just leave that like that for a moment or two, and we'll have a look at our tomato soup now.
All right, lovely.
So I'm just going to go into our oven here, and here I've got some tomatoes.
What, if you could smell this
roasting
as well,
away.
Absolutely fantastic. Look. And this takes no effort really at all, does it?
Whack them in the oven, not a problem.
Just straight in.
So what we've got in here, we've got about a kilo of tomatoes, just sliced in half. We've also got the vines in there, and this is quite important. When we think of tomatoes, we think of that tomato smell. When we walk into greenhouses, things like that, that comes from the vines. So we're trying to get that fragrance in there.
That's worth knowing, actually, isn't it?
We've got some thyme in there, so little bits of fresh thyme. I actually cut that from my own garden. Got some salt on there and some sugar on there as well. Quite important we have some sugar on there.
Yeah.
Tomato's quite acidic. Obviously we need to counterbalance that.
Well, that's interesting actually, because I was saying to you earlier, and I don't know if there's anybody else like this, I can't eat raw tomatoes because of the taste. If they're cooked, tomato sauce, tomato puree, bruschetta where it's all cut up nice and small, absolutely fine. And raw tomatoes on their own, ugh.
Except, well, obviously when we cook things, there is a big chemical change within the vegetable. So, you know, it isn't that unusual. I'm not a big fan of raw carrot myself, but cooked, absolutely fine. Sometimes it's just a textural thing as well.
Aren't we strange?
We are strange beings, us blokes. So I'm just going to pop in some stock, about a litre of stock.
So the stock's going into the carrot and coriander.
Yeah, just into the carrot. So about a litre in there.
So you can make as much as this as you like, of course.
Well, I actually made about 15 litres of that on Saturday for a soup tasting we were doing at the farm. So, yeah, you can make it as little or as much as you'd like.
Yeah, because if you're capturing all the fresh vegetables, I guess, together, then you can freeze batches anyway, can't you? And it's still as fresh as when you made it.
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, with this method here with the tomatoes,
don't they just look gorgeous?
You can use this to make tomato sauces for pasta. You can use it to you know, I think it's very similar to the recipe I used to make homemade baked beans on the show once.
Homemade baked beans, I'm liking the idea. Do you want to have a look at the recipe card actually, guys? If you want to make the roasted tomato and basil soup that we're making right now, let's have a quick look at the recipe card and that will give you the ingredients and a bit of the method there. Oh, hang on, we're going in. We're going in for a blitz.
We've got a blitz in here.
So you've just got your stick blender.
Stick blender, just give it a nice blitz down. What we want to try and do is get all these tomatoes and get all the liquid from the tomatoes.
Yep. Let's just
have a look in there.
Look at that. Great as well. Let's have a quick look at the recipe then for the roasted tomato soup. Cool, lovely. So that's the recipe card and the method then for our roasted tomato and basil soup. Should we have a quick look at the other one and then we'll come back and see the end result because Lewis is just passing all the tomatoes through a sieve at the moment. So let's have a look. There you go. So it's nice and simple, actually, isn't it? Once you get the hang of it, I think sometimes it's just being inspired to do it.
Exactly, exactly. So what we've done with these tomatoes now, blitz them down, pass them through a sieve to obviously take out all the woody bits like the stalks, etc.
Yeah, you used the vine as well, didn't you? So.
And a little bit, just got a little bit of basil in there. So a few leaves of fresh basil. We'll just turn on our pulser again, just to break that down a little bit. You could sit there and finely chop it if you want, but you've already dirtied your stick blender, you might as well use it again.
And you could use dried herbs, but fresh is always best, isn't it?
Fresh is always better, particularly when we talk about what we call soft herbs. So you know, when we talk soft herbs, we're thinking fresh coriander, fresh basil, fresh parsley. It's really essential with the oils there. If you're using dried herbs, better if on the hard herbs, so things like rosemary, thyme, that sort of thing.
Oh, look at this.
So there we go. That is our roasted tomato and basil soup. Just have a little taste. Check that's okay.
Are you satisfied, Chef?
Could just do with a little pinch of sugar.
Okay.
And a little pinch of salt.
Okay, so one to balance out the other.
Well, the salt acts as a flavour enhancer.
Yep.
And the sugar's just going to counterbalance the acidity. Now,
okay.
Sometimes you just need to, with the sugar levels, you need to just vary it depending on the time of year. Obviously, tomatoes at certain times of year will be slightly sweeter than they are others. I mean, obviously, in the middle of summer when you're getting beautiful British tomatoes, they will be a little bit sweeter, nice and fresh. You probably won't need quite as much.